I know women are not going to want to hear this, but Taylor Swift is y'all's Joe Rogan. Let me explain.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
And we look, and about 30 yards away, under a tree, is this
I just think Joe Rogan and Taylor Swift are more alike than they are different. And I know each of their fan base probably doesn't get the other fan base. Like, I'm a fan of Joe Rogan. I don't listen to Taylor Swift. And I don't get it, and I'm sure that they don't understand why we like Joe Rogan. Just the influence that Joe Rogan has over men is the exact same influence that Taylor Swift has over women. Taylor Swift and Joe Rogan are two of the most influential people there are out right now. I know one of them's a singer and one of them's a comedian, but and I'm not saying they're similar. I know they do different things. They are similar in the way they influence their fans. One is known for stadium tours and chart-topping albums, and she has millions of devoted fans. And Joe Rogan is a comedian.
Say you shouldn't be intoxicated around your children. Well, I'm not. I'm high. Call it elevated. It's a different thing.
I say Taylor Swift is Joe Rogan for women. I mean like their influence on their followers. Taylor Swift can say and do anything, and she has control over most of the females in America, even some probably the world. And the same thing can be said for Joe Rogan. His followers on his podcast is insane, And Joe Rogan can say some crazy shit sometimes.
David Icke stuff where he said they're all lizard people.
Joe Rogan isn't afraid to speak his mind, whether it's confronting billionaires or pushing back on mainstream media or diving into controversial topics. Joe Rogan's not one to follow the script. And Taylor, well, she's fearless, right? Taylor don't back down for anything. She speaks her mind, she tells her truth, whether it's about her personal life or her business. Just like Joe Rogan, she challenges the system. Joe Rogan's not just a podcaster. He's a movement.
And the bee's like, I saw a baby next to me in the grass, and I was like, fuck that baby.
People don't just listen to the Joe Rogan Experience. They are a part of it. They live it.
Survival mode is gonna kick in. How long you last, I don't know.
You probably go into shock. Like
right?
if a bear grabs you, you probably just go into shock.
Rogan's built a community, culture, where his audience doesn't just listen. They're actively participating. They question everything and follow his every word. Now, Taylor has her own equivalent of this. Look at the Swifties. They're insane people. And as I understand, like, women aren't going to get, like, what I'm saying about Joe Rogan. Women aren't going to understand it. But, like as I don't understand Taylor Swift, women probably don't understand Joe Rogan.
You got a good one there. Oh! Yes!
Taylor Swift and Joe Rogan have more than just fans. They have followers, they're cults of personality. Like Joe Rogan's podcast is known for long-form conversations, dig into weird, crazy, uncomfortable things. There's no limits to what can be said. Taylor's done the same thing in a different way. Her albums are kind of like her own little podcast about her life. Like, Joe Rogan's fans know who Joe Rogan is. And Taylor Swift's fans know who Taylor Swift is. Never met the person, but know exactly who they are. Her albums are unfiltered, raw, and deeply emotional. Taylor lays her emotions bare, turning her heartbreaks and joys and life lessons into songs that become the soundtrack of an entire generation. Joe Rogan and Taylor Swift are both innovators. Rogan took the podcast and made it a cultural phenomenon. Taylor took the genre of country music and added pop stardom. They're not just following trends, they're creating them. They're not afraid to break barriers, push the limits, and redefine what success looks like. They own their own spaces on their own terms. Taylor Swift isn't just a pop star. She's a cultural icon. And in a lot of ways, she's the Joe Rogan for women. Fearless, unapologetic, and always willing to take on the toughest challenge. Whether it's a stadium full of fans. Like, when Joe Rogan didn't just enter the podcast world. Like, he blew it up. Same goes for Taylor. She blew up the music industry. Thanks for tuning in. If you think Taylor Swift and Joe Rogan are more alike than different, hit that subscribe button.